Hello everyone, this is Ryan, and we're going to do an in-depth review today on Rollercoaster Tycoon 3 Platinum. This includes Rollercoaster Tycoon 3, which is just the theme park setup. You also have the Safari Park, which is going to be with wild animals, elephants, bears, things like that, as you can see here. And then there's also Soaked, which is you now have options like a water park. So we're going to go ahead and dive right into this here in a minute. I did a review a while back, and it was shortly after I downloaded the new application, just to give people a feel for what you can expect. And I've learned quite a bit more now that I've been playing for the last several months, so I want to dive in and give a little bit more detail. So first of all, to play, you want to go ahead and click on this button here. You have a few different options. You have tutorial mode, which is obviously where it teaches you how to play the game. Career mode, which is where you're trying to get to a specific goal. You start out with a failing business, for instance, and you try and get it back to a positive cash flow kind of thing. They have specific goals in mind. Sandbox mode is where you have unlimited cash flow. You have a huge, wide, blank slate to be able to build your park in. That's what I like to use personally. And then you have a custom scenario. So I've never done any custom scenarios. For the most part, I just do sandbox mode. So we're just going to dive into sandbox mode right now. And then you can either start a fresh new game where you'd have a blank slate, or you can load an existing game. And I've just started a game. We're going to go ahead and just start that right now. One downside to the Rollercoaster Tycoon 3 is the graphics really haven't changed in, however long that they've been putting out Rollercoaster Tycoon games. You still get the same, low-grade graphics that you got years ago with your Pentium 2 Windows machine. So it's not really that great, but for those of us who have played Rollercoaster Tycoon for a long time, it's pretty significant. So I apologize. It takes a minute to load here. I assure you it's not my computer. I definitely have a very upgraded brand new Mac. But here we are. So here's your basic layout. I actually put a tram all around the edge of my park so you can see where exactly the park is. This is the edge of the park all the way around. So it's a pretty big park. You have an entrance right in the middle. Right, there's your entrance right there, sorry. So, let's go ahead and back out here for a moment. You have all different kinds of roller coasters, as you can see. Cool thing is you can still build a custom roller coaster and save it. So, this is where your rides are. You're going to have your roller coasters, where you have tons of different options and roller coasters. You can either, when you click it automatically, it chooses basically to build a custom coaster. If you want to build one of the existing ones, you click on this folder right here, and the number, like for instance on this bobsleigh, it says designs available 4. This means that there are 4 separate designs for this particular for this build, for this particular kind of roller coaster. So if you click on this, you can choose the different kinds, and in some cases you're going to have different car options available. In this particular one, you do not. You also have junior rides for your kids, thrill rides, again, water rides, gentle rides, which are pretty much stationary kind of things. This is where you get your golf. I haven't built any golf. It doesn't come standard with any golf setups, so you kind of have to build those. This kind of thing, the dolphin show, you build right on water. That's part of the safari thing, I believe. Anyway, there you go. What else is there? I haven't really been able to figure out how to use these, unfortunately. So you can build a pool. Let's go over here and build a pool for a moment. And you're supposed to be able to get, and if someone watching this video can tell me how to use these, I would greatly appreciate it. Because I don't quite get how these things play into your water feature. Maybe like that. But I don't know how. Every time I've put together a pool, I haven't been able to figure out how to get people there to use it. I don't know what this is. If this is some sort of slide, I don't know. It's kind of obnoxious. Anyway, so to raise and lower land, you have different options. So to raise and lower land, you click on the shovel, of course. Click on this, terrain shaping, so you can either do it like where it's individual tiles, where you choose a corner, or a couple corners, or a full square. You can do, sorry, here. This here just does like half of it, okay? You can choose a whole bunch of, you can choose a whole grid if you want. The thing you need to be careful with is if you start dinking around with the terrain right next to your walkways. Let's say, for instance, we want to lower the terrain right here, and then we raise it back up. I ran into several issues where when you raise it back up, the lines don't quite match up. So I would suggest not messing around with your terrain after you have your sidewalks built, unless you plan on building new sidewalks, which is kind of obnoxious. So your safari, your animals here. Sorry, let me. I forget where they are. There we go. So here's your animals that you can pick from: camel, chimp, and you can choose the sex and you can choose the age of these particular animals. First of all, you have to build a fence. So you go to enclosures. So let me show you how to, let me go back here, show you how to get there. So you go to rides. Everything for the most part is in rides. And then there's your animals. Here are your enclosures. So based on the kind of animal that you're going to be putting in an enclosure, you have to get a certain kind of fence. So let's put up an electric fence right here. And you drag it out as big as you want. Drop it there. You can make this enclosure as big as you want. Okay, so now we're done with the enclosure. Let's go ahead and build a little house for them. So based on the kind of animal, it's going to have an appropriate habitat, an appropriate home for it. So let's call it carnivore house. Okay. And then we're going to actually put our animals in there. So what do we decide? Carnivores, right? So let's go find, let's do a grizzly bear. So you can either do a male grizzly bear or female babies. Let's do a female. Click it, drop it in there, click it. That's all you need to do. Now to hire people to take care of your animals, you go to your clipboard, staff, and then here's your different jobs. You have janitors, mechanics, security person, entertainers, and animal keepers. Once you have some sort of animal encounter kind of like this, you have to have at least one of your animal keepers. Sorry. You can choose your animal keepers, and you can. It's just like this, just the same as in your in the old games. You can select their feet. You can actually highlight specific areas that you want them to work in. Another cool thing I like about this particular this new game is, let me click on this game here, okay? On the right hand side, there's this little hat. Click on the hat, and then you have all these options here. So you have different color options, you can choose the entrance and the exit. Then you have this little camera. If you click on the camera, you're now riding the ride. So you can get a feel for how exciting the ride is. If it's too much or if it's not enough, then you might want to adjust it. I'm going to let you go ahead and walk through this ride with me for a second. And you can change your point of view if you want to turn your head, for instance. So you can turn around, look at whatever you want. To exit that, you just click on this X here. You hover down in the corner. You can change cars if you want. You can change cameras based on where you're at in the car, and then you can just plain old exit. Okay. Now, as far as building roller coasters, I'm going to show you something really quick here. Let's see. Let's actually, first of all, let's zoom out. I want to find a good location to put a nice big coaster. I'm kind of limited on space here, so it's probably going to have to work. As you zoom out, the music gets louder, which is kind of obnoxious. So choose coasters. Let's find something that we want to do. I haven't built one of these yet. Let's try a hyper coaster. By default, your arrow, as you can see, it's green here. It's pointing to the left. So change it. Let's get it pointing to the right. So once you set that down, you keep clicking this button here that's already highlighted. This is your the beginning of your roller coaster. And then obviously you choose your incline, your chain, and then incline, 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 okay? I'm doing this for a reason, I'm not just goofing around. Now let's say you want to taper it off, you want to take it down on a really steep slope. Plan it out. Let's take it back up. Now what I like to do is I like to run tests on all my tracks to make sure that the momentum from the downhill is enough to get you back up the other side. So what you want to do is close it, put it into test mode. If the track isn't complete, you will never have an option, the green option, like you did in the previous versions. So go ahead and click the yellow option. You can either watch it from here, or you can actually sit on it like you would on any other ride. What I want to do is I want to have a nice steep incline right here, but I don't think that this little bit of momentum gained right here is going to be enough to get it back up this hill. So this actually helps you out with track design. See, there's not quite enough momentum to get you back over the top. So all you do is you click the construction button, which is right here with the gear looking thing. Well, it looks like a crane, I guess. And you go ahead and hit the trash can, and you get rid of one of those lengths. And then you run your test again. Chances are there's not enough momentum to get it up even that much either. See, not quite enough momentum. So let's put it back to red. So it shuts off. Go back to your construction. We're going to take off a couple pieces. Maybe at this point you want to take up the track a little higher. Anyway, there you go. There's your brief instruction. To get rid of it, you just click on the garbage can, and there you go. It's gone. Let's see what else here. I'm trying to think. If there's any questions that you have, feel free to ask. I try and answer as best I can. It is pretty responsive. You know, it's you know, as long as you have a newer Mac, you should be good. Here's a swimming pool that I set up here, which is kind of cool. You can have little dressing rooms. And there's your little animal habitat right here. So you've got your animal keepers in there with your bears. Every now and again, you have to replace your fencing around the perimeter because a bear will actually break through. If you don't take care of your animals, like if you happen to mess with your terrain after you put the house in, or if you put this habitat, the carnivore house, on an incline on something that's not completely flat, where your animal keepers can't get to it, you'll actually have a helicopter come in and take away your animals. Like the ASPCA will literally come in and take your animals because you're not taking care of them, which I thought was kind of interesting. So there you go. It's kind of a brief, slightly in-depth look at this at Rollercoaster Tycoon 3. You obviously have your shops and facilities here. Toilets, information, first aid, umbrellas. You can actually sort these as well by themes. So you can click on adventure. You can select all the themes and like block out everything except for pirate stuff if you want. As you can see, I just did that here. You can filter by certain things if you want to see just certain themes. Food, you can kind of do the same thing. Lots of different options for food. And then here's your trees. And sometimes if you build a specific theme, like let's say for instance I built a theme around this roller coaster right here that we're right in front of. If I built a pirate theme and then I decide to put it in, let's say I put in a warrior, okay, like this guy right here. In a little while, I would actually get an error telling me that this warrior doesn't match the theme. The customers are actually complaining that it doesn't match the theme. So that's kind of odd as well. Interesting. So there's your walkways. Anyway, pretty self-explanatory. If you have any questions, let me know. If you want to view through your ride supports, you can do that. There you go. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Have a great one.